episode of Ken's Show and Tell. One video that you saw was trying to establish what I think is a fuel delivery issue with my 1972 Mercedes Benz 280SE 4.5. The symptoms are when the car is warmed up. First of all, it starts very well when it's cold and idles very well and drives well. However, when it warms up to operating temperature, it has symptoms of trailer hitching. That is, when you let off on the accelerator and instead of just slowing down slowly, it feels like you've got weight in the back pushing you forward. I love that term, trailer hitching. The other thing that it does is that it tends to skip and hesitate upon acceleration, and there's no backfiring or anything like that. It just feels like a hesitation, and it feels kind of random, not in particularly one cylinder. So the first thing I did to address the issue was change out the fuel filter. What that did was stop the trailer hitching, which leads me even more to think that it's fuel related. So what I've done is I'm getting ready to check the fuel pressure in the fuel rails on the car. Let's go down in the auto house and see what I've done. So the first thing I did was take off the air cleaner apparatus to expose the fuel delivery system under the hood here, of course, in the engine compartment. And I disconnected this fuel line into your cold start injector right here. Disconnected that. It's a little loose. Don't know if that's important, but the car doesn't have any trouble starting. It doesn't run rich. I'll have to look at that. See how it rocks. I don't know if you can see that. Rocks back and forth. Anyway, I was careful not to break this plastic thing. Took this hose and connected it to this adapter here, so it connects into the Schrader valve of my pressure gauge here, my fuel pressure gauge. So the next thing I was going to do is start the car up and check the fuel pressure. Now I realize the engine is cold, and the problem only occurs after I've driven it for a little bit. But anyway, so let's go ahead and do that and we'll check the fuel pressure. So let's see how that goes. All right, let's get in here and start this car up. See, it always has started very easily cold, even with that cold start injector disconnected. So you can see the temp gauge. Turn on the light here, you might be able to see it better. Yeah, see, it's on the cold side. Let's go out and look at what's going on. Look at that. We got 30 psi, which is exactly what you're supposed to have. Not rocking and rolling in there. It is running a little rough. Let's let it warm up. See what happens to this fuel pressure. Still looking really good. Dropped a little bit to 28, which is still within spec. Still 28, still looking good. See if I can do it like that, and I'll rev it up. good fuel pressure. So the engine is definitely warmed up. It's not at 175, which is actually operating range for this thing, but that's good enough. It's running very smoothly now. In fact, the warmer it's getting, the smoother it's running. Alright, let's go back and look under the hood and see what our fuel pressure is. Fuel pressure is good. Fuel flow is good. I did notice something. Let me get this other lamp going here. You can see. Look at this right down in here. That bare spot on that black wire. And there's also a bare spot on that red wire. Well, those are leads off the coil to the distributor to electronic ignition system that was put in this car prior to my buying it. And look what's happened. The shrink wrap has come off, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if those wires have been shorting and arcing. And that's what was giving me the uneven driving and the skipping upon acceleration and stuff. So what I'm going to do is, of course, fix that. Also notice something else. See how wet that is down there? I'm wondering if the top of this power steering reservoir is leaking. So we'll take that off and take a look at it. But before I do that, I'm going to shut the engine off. I'm satisfied with this fuel pressure. It's good. Well, I took this little knurled knob off. I've never really noticed this before, although I've been inside this. When I took this off, of course the fluid's fine, but when I turn it over, look at that. That gasket is hard. And I'm going to see if I have one that will fit, or see if I can order one, or do something about that, because it looks like there is fluid leaking over the side here, and these wires are wet. And sure enough, look at those bare wires. And so I will fix those. 1 hour later, the pressure's dropped from between 28 and 30 down to about 20 pounds as the car has been sitting still, cooling down. That's okay. So we'll go from there. I'm going to see if I can find something to make a new gasket for the power steering thing. Lid. I'm going to be a bit surprised if that's the original gasket, and I need to repair this too. I bet you anything this was the cause of the rough running when it got, because I could see some scorching in here. So anyway, let's go see what we can find in terms of sealing this up, and then I'll do the shrink wrap on here. Looks like someone, I know who it wasn't me, it was actually a mechanic. Didn't do the shrink wrap. It's there, but forgot to actually shrink it down. The fuel rail pressure is fine. I repaired the wiring snafus I found down here. I did not have a gasket for the top of the power steering pump reservoir, so I'll have to see if I can order one. And I'm getting ready to take this thing out for a test drive, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that the problem has been fixed. Where we're sitting here idling in drive, temperature's cool. You can see it's in here, it's not missing, running fine. So let's just take it out on the road here. contact. It's still not missing. You can hear it. It's still not missing. That's very good. Nice smooth shift. Okay. So far so good. So we'll go a little bit further down the road, see temperature's rising. We'll go out here, a little bit bigger road so we can get the speed up and see if it hesitates on acceleration. This is the smoothness that I remember that I had lost. Very happy so far. Tell you this, those Bilsteins have really helped the ride. Who would have thought? I sure didn't. Gas at this little turn up here. No trailer hitching. Oh, it's lovely. Downshifted on its own, and we'll accelerate out of this turn